Hello everybody, my name is Hosen. I want to welcome you all back to another guide video. In this video I will be discussing temple timers when it comes to the first 3 temples on Sky Temple, as well as talking about the importance of the 2 Bruiser camps up at the top here, and the importance of this watchtower. Now in a lot of the maps here, there isn't a whole lot of power in holding a watchtower. We all know the infamous smiley face on Blackheart's Bay and how useful that can be from time to time, right? Especially at the very beginning of the game. However, I would argue to say that this is one of the most important watchtowers in all of Heroes of the Storm, especially at this time in the game. So for you players out there that don't know, the way the temples work, at least in the beginning of the game here, is we all know the first 2 temples will come up in the middle and the top. But when the temples go down, when both those temples are done firing, when the last shot's taken and the final temple goes back down, you have 2 minutes from that time before this temple up here will come up. So because this temple is always going to come up, we know the rotations of the temples. These Bruiser camps up here become very important, because what you can do with them is, since we know in 2 minutes that temple will come up, we can say a minute and 30 go to our Bruisers and spend 10-15 seconds doing the Bruisers, maybe even, and that will actually march Bruisers down the top lane, which can do a lot of damage to this top lane. And the only response from the enemy team that they'd be able to do is to send people up here, 1, 2, however many, and deal with the Bruisers while this temple is up. Or they can ignore the Bruisers and take the structural damage in the top lane and fight 5v5 for the bottom temple. And this is becoming more of the meta to do, is to grab those Bruisers before that bottom temple comes up. Now there's one other strategy that comes into play here that my team has done a few times in these team leagues, and they have almost, I would say, they've definitely guaranteed the lead in the beginning of the game. And it has a lot to do with this watchtower, which will allow you to do it. So I'm over on the blue team here. I'm on Tyrande, and I have my normal people on my team that I always play with. And it's been about 2 minutes. Well, not 2 minutes, a minute and a half or so. And I'm showing you what we see now. So this is our vision. And we do have Tyrande, which does give us the vision of the owls. But what we were kind of waiting around here for, since we own this watchtower, was this owl to come out. And this is going straight for their Bruiser camp, and it's because we want to know if they're doing it. And sure enough, they are. And we all know the infamous throw pit. And we all know, you go into a throw pit, you go fight that boss, and the enemy team comes, they kill you all, and they take your boss, and then they take your core. Now, while the Bruisers won't deal as much damage or cause as much chaos as a boss does, they still take away something very important. And it's the idea that players will use abilities on these camps, which they should in times, to do them faster. And we all know Jaina has a 15-second cooldown on Blizzard. There's only so many she can throw down. There's a lot of little factors like that that come into play. And the reason we can scout this camp, and the reason we can move in here, so we call them move in, is because we have this watchtower. This watchtower denies them the vision required to know that this gank is coming, and to know that we are going to aggressively come up on their camp. And while this is going on, we do know that the Nazebo is probably still down here. He did flash up on the map for a little bit, and we are taking 4 people to what will most likely be a 3v4, which should be in our favor, especially with our level advantage, which I think we might lose here as we go in. And then we also would assume that the Nazebo is down bottom lane, either pushing, hanging out, something, who knows, right? So we set up for a gank here. We lose vision on them. But we knew enough at the time. Our tank, I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but our tank did wait in the bush here for a little bit for us to catch up. So we catch up and we go in on their camp. And sure enough, we can see the Nazebo down here doing what he really should be doing. So we move in to take their camp, and a fight breaks out. So you can see that Rhaegar was in, caught out a little bit, took a bit of damage because this is pretty unexpected to happen. So we kind of just move in here, take a little bit of damage from the blizzard, well, quite a bit. Our positioning isn't the greatest either. A KT needs to stop going for these objectives, let our tankier people get onto them, but that's okay. This is a risky move, so casualties can happen. There goes our KT. However, we do nail the Zerichel. We have a double support running here, so we do have the sustain for this. Our tank is staying on the point for us. He's actually pulling people on the point as well, but it's not the biggest of issue. Another mark comes out on the healer in order to get him out of the fight again, unless he wants to stay there and take a lot of damage. Our tank goes down, but we still have the double support up here, and this just means, of course, less targets for us to heal, which keeps us alive easier. So there goes their Leoric. And you'll see here they'll also lose the Jaina, and they'll lose the camp. Now I'll go ahead and switch to an everybody view, so you guys can see what kind of damage this does. And we say yay, and other things like that. And we go ahead and transition down and get ready to do this temple. So the temple is already active and it's up. It's not the best time of ganks, but on their Bruiser camp, but again, we have to time our gank based around what they're doing. Had they done it sooner, we could have ganked sooner. But they decided to do it a little bit later, which this was an extremely well-timed Bruiser camp on their part. The team we were playing against is extremely well coordinated. They are very, very good players. We've played against them a few times, and it's always a very, very even fight. So we do start to rotate down around here to take this camp. The Zagara doesn't have to get on it right away. She can wait for the team, but you can see the distraction that the Bruiser camps cause. And Zerichel goes to take this watchtower as well. But you can see we're already transitioning down into this temple. We're already lighting it up. The Rhaegar has cleared out the Bruiser camps. We've taken half of the ammo away from that keep, all of the ammo away from that tower, as well as done tower damage to it as well. So I just wanted you guys to see the importance of this watchtower and the importance these Bruisers camps can be. I mean, you can also notice that we didn't even get ours, we just kind of took theirs. And because most of the time these watchtowers don't play that crucial of a role, but in this scenario, this one does. So anyways, I thought that this was a pretty interesting clip that happened in a replay, so I decided to record it and share it with you guys. So I hope this little tip, this guide, can help you guys out in your hero leagues, your team leagues, or your quick matches, whatever you guys choose to play. Anyways, this is Hosen, and I thank you all again for hanging out with me here and watching the replays. Take it easy.